I believe that. Thank you.
Very nice to meet you, Brian. I founded the J Weld Club and the J Weld Book Club.
J. Wells.
The reason it's called the J Weld Club
Yes.
because in order to join the club,
Yes.
there's a few conditions.
Yes.
You either have to be Jewish
Yes.
or you have to love Jews.
Yes.
And if you don't love Jews, you have to at least love me because I'm Jewish.
That's great.
You know, when we talk about time management, in reality, we're talking about life management.
Life management, yes.
It's time. After all, life. What is life? It's
Yes.
time.
Yes.
And what would a person not pay to get more life?
Yes, exactly. You know, it's interesting. If you were the richest person in the world, I came across this, I read so much material on time management, I still do. I could write another book on time management. I will, as a matter of fact, in the next 2 weeks. It will be completely different from this on time management. But what I said is, imagine you had worked all your life to become the richest person in the world, and you were worth billions and billions of dollars, and you found out that you had a fatal illness and that you were going to die within 24 hours. However, there was this special medicine, and if you took this special medicine, you would live 24 hours more than if you didn't take the medicine. You would get everything you had ever earned for that one day more. You get everything you'd ever earned for that one day more. That's how precious life is. And when you say that to somebody, oh wow. And yet, one of the great writers said that people think nothing of wasting the hours and days of their lives. And yet they always talk about important time management, but they think nothing about wasting the hours and days of their lives. And that's really important. If you told a person that a cosmic accident was going to happen today, if you told a person that a meteorite was going to destroy the entire Earth in 3 days, and you only had 3 days left, yes, how would you spend that last 3 days? Well, the first thing is you would want to spend it with the most important people in your life. And I said, then why aren't you spending it with the most important people in your life right now? I mean, if you had only a short time to live, you would realize what is more important than anything else. And let us say you had a year to live, or 10 years to live, and you had only a certain period of time. There's a wonderful question that they teach at Stanford. It says, imagine that you have $20 million cash, tax-free, in the bank, but you find that you only have 10 years to live. How would you spend your time? And in other words, you have all the money that you need to be financially free for the rest of your life, but you only have 10 years to live. How would you spend your time? Well, I spend my time doing this and I do that, and I quit this lousy job and I want to do that, and I stop putting this off, and so on. So it's when people start to see how valuable their time is and really think about it. And what I do is I encourage people to think about how valuable your life is. They change their lives. They leave my seminars and they quit their jobs. They walk away from a bad relationship. They change their health habits. They do all kinds of things. When they ask the question, what if you only had a short time left to live? So it's a great question. Great good thing to think about.
Okay. I want to ask you, I created a course called How to Earn 7 Figures by Using Your Unique Talent. And one of the things I'm mentioning in the course, and I think that this is very much in line to what you were saying.
Yes.
Let's say the lifetime of the person is 100 years.
Yes.
And then you come to a doctor. It's exactly what you said before with the 24 hours. But let's say you come to the doctor when you're 80, the doctor tells you you're going to die unless, it's going to cost you your entire wealth to get 20 more years.
Yes.
He would give everything.
He would give everything.
So what is the difference between living to 80 and adding another 20 years than between living your younger years and then your older years that they call the golden years, the retirement age, and then right in the middle, you have like 20, 30, 40 years that you're dead because you do what you absolutely hate doing.
Yes.
Isn't that like living, dying, living again?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here's a wonderful idea that my friend Dan Sullivan is a coach.
Strategic
coach, yeah. And he says, imagine that you're going to die at a certain time. What age are you going to die at? And he said, most people never ask themselves that question. What age are you going to die at? Well, let's say you're going to die at the age of 80, which is becoming more and more the common. Some people die older, some people die young. At the age of 80. Okay, so how would you like to feel at the age of 80? How would you like to feel at the age of 80? In health, fitness, weight, relationships. And you say, well, I'd like to feel this. I'd like to have that. I'd like to have lots of energy. I get up in the morning, everything else. Okay, so now how would you like to feel one day before that? When you are one day before the age of 80. And then how would you like to feel one day before that? And then work it all the way back to the present day. You ever heard this? It's a wonderful idea. It's so that one day before you die, you would want to feel terrific about yourself. So now what you do is you work it all the way back to today. And what do you need to do today to feel wonderful about yourself? How would you organize your day? Why, I teach in my coaching program, I say that there's only 4 ways to change your life. You can do more of some things, and you can do less of other things. You can start doing something that you've not done before, or you can stop doing something altogether. And those are the only 4 ways you can change your life. And I've worked with 1,000 entrepreneurs, business owners over the years, and we've never found a different answer to that question. Is, what would you do one of those 4 things? And so we say, well, number 1 is, what would you do more of? Well, you do more of those things that give you the best results, that make you the happiest, that make you more fulfilled, that give you the greatest joy. Of course, what would you do less of? Well, you do less of the things that you don't enjoy, that you don't like, and that are not that helpful to you, and so on. What would you start doing that you've never done before? Well, you've always meant to do this. What is it? What would you stop doing completely? Stop smoking, stop drinking, stop, eating desserts or anything else. What would you stop doing? And then have the discipline to just follow through on what you decided to do or not do.
It's like when you don't live like this, it's like going around that person in a live body, so to speak.
That's right.
A lot of people look alive, but you start touching them, you don't feel any energy, you don't feel anything in them.
Yes. If you ask, what is the highest form of life? The highest form of life of all. And the answer that I've come out to is to experience joy. It's to experience joy. And so you ask the question, and we've done seminars and we've worked with so many people, you ask the question, what gives you joy? What gives you the greatest joy in life? And this is not a simple question. It's not a simple answer. And don't be settled or satisfied with the first answer. First answer is usually joy comes from the quality of your relationships and being with people you love and doing things that help and change other people. But think about it. What gives you joy, and how can you organize your life so you're doing more of the things that give you joy? And then you organize your life around that. By the way, there's a piece of music, I believe it's by Mozart, called Ode to Joy. And it's one of the great pieces of music. You listen to it, and it does give you joy. Beautiful piece of music.
I think, talking about the purpose of life, the way I look at it and the way I constantly communicate this with my members, the purpose of life is, there is a certain purpose. And if you really want to know what the purpose in life is, just look what your unique talent is, because God gave you what you need to have to accomplish your purpose.
Yes.
And nothing gives you more joy than accomplishing your purpose.
Yes.
So it's basically starting with your finish line. Where do you want to get?
Yes.
And the same as you mentioned from Dan Sullivan, that you want to, the last day of your life and then look back. It's the same every morning. This day, as you mentioned, Brian, is a part of that life.
Yes.
So I want to know crystal clear in the morning, what is it that I have to accomplish by the end of today that I should be happy with my progress towards the bigger picture?
Yes, that will give you joy.
That will give me joy.
That's a very important thing, is asking yourself all the time, what gives me joy? And then having the discipline to do only that. One of the things I learned in time management, which I teach, is what I call the law of 3. And it says basically in your work, there's only 3 things that you do that account for 90% of the value of everything that you do. And so your job is to identify them. And the way you do it is you make a list of everything you do in a week or a month. And then you ask yourself 3 magic questions. Magic question number 1, if I could only do one thing on this list all day long, which one activity would contribute the greatest value to my life? And put a circle on it. And usually that one jumps out at you. Then it becomes difficult. Second one, if I could only do two things all day long, what would be the second thing that contributes the greatest value to my life? And that takes a little bit of reading and research and thought and so on. Most people write down 20 to 30 things in their answers. I've given this to my coach clients over the years. And it's very interesting because it's a life changer. And then question number 3 is if you could only do 3 things on this list, what would be number 3? And this law of 3, which I began teaching 25 years ago, has now become a basic law in some of the biggest companies in the world. IBM uses it as their management law. Every manager is trained to ask each person, what are your big 3? And is what you're doing right now one of those 3? By the way, people say, well, how do I find my area of excellence, my great joy? And what I find is you ask the question, who do I admire the most? Whose accomplishments do I admire the most? Who do I want to be like? What gives me joy? What do I like to read about? What fascinates me? What draws me and pulls me? Well, that's an indicator of what you are born to be good at, what you're born to be great at. It grabs you and it moves you, it pulls you. And when you think about it, it makes you happy. When you do it, when you see somebody else doing it, it makes you happy. It makes you want to do more of it yourself.